Okay, I want to talk about reprogramming your mind real quick because you're not a fucking computer. Yes, of course, there's input, output, code, series of ones and zeros, whatever. But you're not a computer. You're not a computer. You can actually, instead of trying to force the code into your system, into your daily routine, everyone has patterns, everybody has a routine, everyone has habits, right? Unless your device is old, it really don't have a habit, okay? You know what I'm talking about, like older trucks and cars that have their own personality because they're just so fucking old. And you gotta finesse it, and they do have their own personality, right? They have their own vibe, okay? They have soul, if you know what I'm talking about. Older vehicles have their own personality. But instead of trying to force, right, with an older car, instead of trying to force like the vehicle to be like a newer car, you work with it, you finesse it, like the roll-up windows. Even some windows that have like the automatic button, but they're old and they won't like roll up anymore, and you gotta like pull it up. Yeah. You know, the window in the back that you gotta beat on a little bit for it to open up. The stick shift that you gotta fucking wiggle sometimes. Anyways, yes. You work with it. With an older vehicle, you work with it, okay? I love older cars. But you work with it. You don't try to force. You can use some force because it's built like that, right? And so are you. So you can take a beating if you need to, but do you want to? Do you actually want to? Reprogramming a code into you is like forcing inputs and outputs, which, yes, it's helpful if you can get that far, right? If you can keep beating yourself up and keep forcing yourself, and then you beat yourself up for it's not a gentle process, right? It's useful, right? You can force yourself to do things, but instead of doing that, let's use our actual body to work with us, okay? You work with an older car, you work with it. So where you are right now, work with it, okay? So work with your body. I don't know what you look like. I'm not gonna tap into everybody who watches this. I don't care what you look like. I don't care what your personality is. I do know that you can condition yourself. You can make the reprogramming of patterns and codes. You can... A download was trying to come through. Hold on. About light codes. But anyways, I've been working with like the rainbow. Anyways, okay. So, condition your body. Condition your body through positive reinforcement, okay? You work with the older truck, right? You work with the older vehicle. You work with them. They can take a beating. They really can. They are built like that. But instead of trying to force it, finesse it. Use positive reinforcement and condition the patterns that you want into your life, okay? So this could look like a playlist, right? I have a playlist for when I run. I have a playlist for when I get work done, when I like want to put myself in like the work mode. I have a playlist for that. I have a playlist for just fun, for happiness and joy, and get me into like a good receiving and emitting, radiating joy mode, right? I use music because I love it. But positive reinforcement can also look like taking a breath, okay? Taking a breath, feeling peace and satisfaction after you complete a task, right? Because that will put you in a cycle, that will put you in a pattern, that will put you into a loop, right? You will want the positive reinforcement. You will want the hit of dopamine, right? That gives you. You patting yourself on the back. You're going to start to crave that. You're going to start to reinforce your patterns, your codes, naturally and easily, instead of trying to fucking force everything into your life and force patterns, force habits, force all this shit. And a part of you is like fighting it the whole fucking way. Yeah, let's not do that. Work with your body. Work with conditioning. And there is negative reinforcement too, right? Which I do use, right? But I'm built like that. Yes and no. One of my negative reinforcements, right, which I'm sure you can relate to as well if you're very in tune with your body, is I love burgers, right? But I can't eat a burger, and I can't eat like beef tacos. So I have a burger like once a year, and I love it. I love like the idea of it, but every time I eat one, it hurts my stomach. Like it doesn't settle well at all on my stomach. My stomach doesn't like beef, right? So like I feel nauseous and like I'm gonna, you know, and even if it's good meat, okay, because I rarely, like whenever I have a burger, it's rarely fast food, right? My sister actually makes the best burgers, but she doesn't cook them often. Like she only cooks it once a year, right? Usually during the summertime. But she does. She makes really good burgers. And even though the meat is good meat, it's just, it doesn't like me. So me knowing that I can't eat burgers all the time is because of that feeling. That's a negative feeling that I don't like. So that gets me to eat a burger only once a year, twice a year. Like I would love to eat a burger once a week, but that negative, dense, heavy, nauseous feeling that it gives me, I can't. Why put myself through that? So that's negative reinforcement, right? And then I use negative reinforcement too for like, oh, if you don't get this shit done by this amount of time, then you don't get to do this. Like I set conditions for myself. Right. There's a few other examples I can give, but I use them both. I'm just not trying to have you on some fucked up shit for negative reinforcement. I used to use negative reinforcement a lot as a child to control myself as a child, to control like the psychopath that wanted to come out, right? So I've been doing it for a while, but I've learned to have positive reinforcement in my life and positive conditioning. Everything is a pattern. There are cycles that you do repeat. There are habits that you already have. So take inventory of what habits are in your life, what patterns are in your life. Are you going unconscious and letting your body just go mindlessly to the fridge and look inside the fridge, right? You're not even hungry, your body's just automatically going to the fridge out of boredom, right? Like, what are you doing? I know some people that like to do push-ups every time they enter a kitchen, but like you can enter your own kitchen. Yeah, it was kind of weird whenever I first seen it, but it made sense, right? It was a lady I met a long time ago that I invited, into my house. And she was very fit, right? But she explained it to me that you work out whenever, like throughout the day, getting little reps in here and there. And one of her things is every time she enters a kitchen, because usually the kitchen is where people make food, fridge, whatever. And she was just like counter and does like counter push-ups, right? Which is cool. I actually started doing like squats on like the line between my living room and the kitchen, which has worked out really well. So every time you open your fridge, you can do burpees, right? You can do squats, you can do push-ups. Every time you watch TV, you can exercise while you watch TV. That's one of my things that because I stopped watching TV for a while, right? So, but I've been into Eastern shows, and I started watching one yesterday, and I exercised, right, for like a good few episodes, and it's the best. Like, you do get exercise in, right? You do actually. But I do little movements, right? I don't do like burpees while I'm trying to watch TV. I will use my ball and do like calisthenic shit, but that makes me feel better about watching TV. That makes me feel better about, because I'm doing two things at once, right? I'm doing something good, something positive, with something that I don't actually. I mean, I do enjoy the Eastern shows, right? But I don't like the feeling of being lazy, being still, like I am still when I meditate and for a purpose, but I don't know, I would prefer to exercise and do something rather than like sit and watch TV. I would rather exercise and watch TV. I would rather move my body while watching TV. So, I also feel like TV is a waste of time, even if it does bring me happiness. Like, so I was like, okay, well, if I exercise while watching TV, it's not a waste of time, you know? Yeah. So be creative, right? I don't own a couch because whenever I had my child, right? I have a few children actually, but whenever I had them, right? I didn't like feeling that I was a couch potato, because you do something and then you sit back down. Usually it's on a couch because that's what's there, right? So you do something and sit back down. You like rest in a certain chair, right? Which was my couch. And I didn't like feeling like a couch potato, so I got rid of the couch, right? I created my environment to work for me. Like, I have chairs in my living room. And I have tables, so it's more like a sitting area, right? I like old school couches, furniture, like the Victorian, where you like just, you don't get comfortable because they're not very comfortable. Yeah, I like those. But I do like moving. I like having a peaceful mind in motion, okay? So be creative. Be creative. What can you do? What can you condition into your routine? What habit do you want? And how can you use positive reinforcement in order to achieve implementing that pattern, right, into your life? It's not a goal, right? I'm sure whenever you have like a fitness goal, there's a goal that you have in mind, right? But it's the pattern that you have to implement. That is the most important thing, because the pattern, the consistency of it, gets you the result, right? And the result, you're going to keep fine-tuning after that. You're going to want it in your life. So how can you condition yourself to keep the pattern into your life, right? And I'm not talking about having like a cookie after the gym, because the gym, I don't go to the gym, but that's contradicting your goals. I prefer to work out, you know, at home. I just prefer, you know, gym life at home. I don't know. I like calisthenics and working with my own body weight and like ankle weights and stuff like that. I don't like machines. But I know myself, I know that is a preference to me, right? So if you do go to the gym, a positive reinforcement could be blasting music on the way back. Silence on the way there, or, you know, you can blast music that gets you into the gym mode, right? That hypes you up for the gym. And then like peaceful music afterwards, and sit with yourself. You don't have to like sit, but be very conscious and very aware and have that moment, you can build onto it too. So it's not just a moment, not like a few seconds worth of satisfaction, because you can lengthen that time. You can feel fucking amazing like the whole, like an hour, 2 hours after the gym, right? You can go to bed feeling so fucking satisfied with your day that you can't wait to do it again tomorrow. When you start hitting all of those, the goal isn't a month from now, right? The goal is to consistently do it every single day, right? That's why you can fall asleep feeling satisfied. Okay, like I know I did a video this morning. I accomplished something, right? I know I'm gonna exercise. Accomplishment. I know I'm going to do schoolwork today, actually. Accomplishment. I know I'm gonna work on something that I've been working on behind the scenes. Accomplishment. I know I'm gonna do this other thing that I have been doing, but I have to do it again because it's consistency, right? And then eating. I know I'm probably gonna have a lot of protein today because I prefer protein. Like I have like 2 protein shakes a day and chicken usually, or bone broth, you know? And I've actually just started keeping track of like the calories, the protein that I'm actually taking in. Right? Accomplishment. Tracking that shit. Because I just added that, right? Let's see, what else do I have for my schedule today? Playing with my child. To me, that is very important, and it is an accomplishment, okay? Making sure I carve out time. So, yes. Reading, I have a toddler, but reading to him, accomplishment. Like all the things that I want to do with him, accomplishment, right? I have to teach him. I have to read to him. I don't have to, but I get to. I get to run him around and play hide and seek, and I do gotta run his energy out so I can work. So I do work that into my schedule. I work with the circumstances of my life. I work with the patterns that I want in my life. I work with it, right? I work with everything that I already have in my life. And then I work around it, right? And then I pivot and play with the habits and the routines and the conditioning, like what will work better, right? That's how I know to run my child before I start, hours of work, right? Because when I get him exhausted from running around and playing, he wants to fucking take a break, you know? He wants to take a break for a few hours. He wants to actually sit down. He has a learning tablet, right? Where it's like games, but it's like for learning. And he'll play on that. Or he'll draw in color, which is cute. He uses up a lot of paper, but. And he has like this video game for the TV that's learning, because I was very against my child having technology, but I use it to my advantage. Like, I want you to learn. So you're just gonna have learning apps. You're not gonna be like, yes, on YouTube. and watching stupid like shit that you probably shouldn't even watch, right? Children watching all this shit that they shouldn't nowadays, right? I know someone who lets their toddler play Call of Duty, like their toddler. Yes, I did judge for that. I'm like, that's not very good for your child. That's not. It's not. Like, to me, that's not good for your children. But I do want what's best for children. And I know violence at an early developmental stage is not good for children, right? Of course, it's on a TV, whatever. It wasn't like my violent childhood that wasn't on TV, right? That's not good for children. But still, you have to protect your mind as well. Protect children's mind as well. So, yes, you get my point. Have it work for you. I see parents using the excuse of children all the fucking time as to why they can't achieve their goals. Oh, I have to take care of my child. Like, oh, I have a wife and children. Okay, and if you have a wife, then you have someone that takes care of the children. Yes, you should help out with that process, obviously, but work with them. Work with them. Communicate with them. Be creative with it. But also, people have to take inventory of where they're placing their attention, what they're actually doing, what patterns they actually have. And a lot of people don't want to take that accountability. They don't want to actually look at themselves and realize that they are fucking up their life. Like, they have the patterns. I could use my childhood as an excuse, right? I could. I could use me being bedridden this past year as an excuse. Even though I couldn't help it. Even though I was trying so fucking hard to work on my shit while I was like bedridden. Because I got out of bed. And I was supposed to be in bed, you know. But I did. I was still trying to work on my shit. But it came to a point where my brain wasn't like comprehending sentences. And I was still trying to comprehend the fucking sentence, right? And like my brain couldn't even fathom like the sentence. And I was trying to break it down, you know? This is right. So I could use that as an excuse, right? Or I could just get the fuck over it and be like, okay, well, that happened. Where can I go from here? How can I move forward? What will move me forward? What can I do? And what can you do? Okay, cool, what happened? What circumstances are in your life right now? What patterns, what habits are in your life right now? Start today. What can you focus on? What can you implement into your life? What can you take away from your life? What can you replace? Like, what habits aren't serving you? Your excuses aren't serving you. That's not helpful. Get rid of those. But what can you actually take out? I took out the belief that came with, because whenever I had, children, I was like, oh, you gotta eat 3 meals a day. No, you don't. I ask my children when they're hungry, right? I feed them when they're hungry. Hey, are you hungry yet? I took out the belief that people have to eat 3 times a day. I only eat a meal like once a day. But like protein shakes are also in my daily life. So eating 3 times a day, you can take that shit out. I still cook for my children when they're hungry. But if I'm not hungry, I'm not gonna eat it. Let's see, I took out my whole fucking couch, right? Threw that shit away. I put my desk, my area, where I can keep an eye on my children. Because I was gonna have it in a room, because I have a lot of rooms. It don't look like it from this little corner, but I have a lot of rooms, and I actually first had my office in a room, but I couldn't keep an eye on my children, right? So I made my environment work for me instead of giving excuses. Oh, I can't work because I have to keep an eye on my children. What kind of shitty excuse is that? Look at your excuses. What can you take out? What can you implement, right? Like, I thought about taking out coffee and replacing it with green tea. But I actually do enjoy coffee. It's actually very sentimental to me because of my uncle that passed away. So, yes. And he does have coffee with me. I mean, he doesn't like have the coffee part, but he has like the presence when I'm having the coffee, right? Anyways, what can you take out? And what can you put into your life? What can you replace? I replaced breakfast with a protein shake or vitamins. Because I do have to remind myself to take my vitamins. I have a double shot glass that I keep on the counter just for all of the vitamins and supplements and shit that I take. I also have like cleaning gloves, right? Because I do my dishes by hand. And having the simple thing of having like the gloves there. Like, I do dishes every single, like, after every single meal. Like, if I have to cook for them, you know. Gloves. That small thing has helped me, like, not postpone the dishes until, like, the end of the day, right? Like, I will do them whenever there's dishes in there. Whenever there's more than, like, a coffee cup and a spoon in there. That way they're not piling up throughout the day. And it's so weird how like the little thing of having gloves, they're like the plastic long gloves or whatever, latex, I don't know. Gloves. Washing dishes with gloves on my hands. I have no idea why that, like, the idea popped into my head, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll try it. And then now, like, I do the dishes more often. Like, I do them throughout the day, not just at nighttime, or like before. I clean before I go to bed, right? I clean the living room, I clean all the toys, right? I used to clean 3 times a day. like all the toys before nap time, right? 2 to 3, yeah, 2 to 3, because it would be during nap time and then at the end of the day. And sometimes children make a bunch of like messes, right? Messy. So maybe it was like before a meal. I like having my area clean. I like having my house clean. It really just depends on the day, but work with it. Work with it. I love waking up to a clean house in the morning, so I do make sure to clean that bitch the day before, right? The night before. Or like, you know, before bed, whatever. Because I like waking up to a clean house. I know my desk can get disorganized because I do have a lot of notes and I condense them and I move shit around like pretty much every day. But I love having it organized. I love the process of reorganizing it. I do that every other day. I don't do that every single day. But that's my life, like what I do with my conditions, what I do with my patterns and habits, and having habits that actually serve me and having routines that serve me. Maybe yours could be like saying affirmations or having it on in the background, or frequencies while you're brushing your teeth, right? Something like that. Maybe it's listening to a podcast on the way to work, jamming out to some music. You can feel satisfaction every single day whenever you complete a task. Whenever you complete the task, whenever you complete like the priority, feel satisfaction after that. Like actually sit with yourself, pat yourself on the back. You have to be your own cheerleader. You have to reinforce and condition patterns that you want into your life, right? And every time you put a rep in for that pattern, pat yourself on the fucking back. Yay, I fucking did it. Pat yourself on the back. So, yes. That's the easiest way to implement a habit into your routine. Implement the pattern into your routine. That's the easiest way. Using positive reinforcement. So, I do have a self-mastery, no, it's a growth guide. But yes, I do have a growth guide that's free. A growth guide that is free. And a Shifting Worlds guide that is free that you can go check out. It's on my website. It is free. It's an automatic download. So go check those out. You won't regret it. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Have a great day.